E-gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
G2A.com, the best video game store ever! Fast as lightning, solid as a rock, cheap as duck! What's more, you can sell on it because it's also a marketplace. Remember G2A.com, the best video game store ever!
Seconds remaining.
Okay, folks, hello and welcome to our final DotaPit series of the day for the closed EU qualifiers. We've got Lemondogs versus Team Bad English, a team who just came out over a win versus Na'Vi. Now, I believe it was ARDM, but I believe they beat them in a best of 3 in ARDM, so it still counts. Best of 3 action, and I have to say, Team Bad English's draft is disgusting already. Let's get right into it. I am Llama Down Under. I'm joined by Mini Esports. How do you feel? IO Tiny Docs here. Thoughts?
Sounds pretty disgusting, as you said before. One thing I'm kind of intrigued by, though, is that Lemondogs banned out the Alchemist instead of the Wisp. Now, Alchemist, the reason why we don't see a lot of first ban Alchemist is because although Alchemist is a very, very strong hero, the hero is quite easy to counter, and so you don't need to resort a first ban on him because there's a lot of counters to him, whether playstyle or heroes in general. So as a result, they ban out Alchemist, but it leaves the IO Tiny combination open. They picked up Darkseer as well, so already their draft from Team Bad English is very, very strong. Now Lemondogs have already. Now, the thing is, when you pick like a hero combination like IO Tiny or like a certain strategy, it forces the other teams to be on the back foot in terms of, oh, we need to counter this strategy kind of thing, and you can sort of see it from their draft already. Spirit Breaker, Wind Ranger, both very good against IO Tiny because of the ability to get into the backlines of IO and start bursting them down. So yes, Team Bad English have got a strong draft already.
Yeah, and I also want to say, I think for Team Bad English, it wasn't banned against them because they don't run it a whole bunch. I've caused them quite a bit. I don't think I've seen the IO banned out against them. I would actually expect it more banned against Lemondogs since they have famously played IO Tiny a lot. But Team Bad English are just like, yeah, we'll take it. Whatever. So, nice job for them. They've got a great draft coming out. Lemondogs, as you said, on the back foot. Windrunner, a nice way to deal with IO Tiny. I actually feel like the Wyvern would have been an even better pickup, but of course you don't want to give them IO Tiny and Wyvern. That's another disgusting combo. And it is looking rough for Lemondogs. They're going to have to outplay here quite a bit, I think, because I do really prefer Team Bad English's draft.
Yeah, definitely. But at least Wind Ranger is pretty decent against the IO Tiny, not just in terms of like mid game, because you can shackle both the Tiny and the IO because they're normally like sort of in line together. But she's actually not too bad against them in the lane as well. I'm assuming IO Tiny will be played mid, Darkseer will off lane, and then Bane +1 will be the short lane for Team Bad English. Wind Ranger's okay against IO Tiny mid because of the power shot, but also because of the Wind Run as well. So if she does get caught, she does have somewhat of a pseudo escape mechanism. They pick up Gyrocopter as well, a hero they just want to have team fight because when IO Tiny relocate in, they want to make sure that they have team fight readily available to take the team fight if it comes through. And Gyro, obviously, a decent hero in terms of team fight, but also good against Darkseer as well because the Rocket Barrage, as we mentioned in the previous series.
Yeah, also, I need to correct myself. It was only a best of 1 ARDM, but that's still, I would have to say, I mean, a little bit miffed that we missed that cost in our own games, but either way, we're getting into it. We have the full draft out from Team Bad English, some beautiful synergy coming out here. I mean, of course, you've got Tiny's Cleave, that's going to do a lot of damage. Well, first of all, you've got Avalanche Toss combo, always great when you can vacuum them all together. You've got Cleave, as long as Tiny gets up the Ags. You've got Juggernaut, who's going to be around there, Omni slashing, mass chaos. I only think the one thing potentially you can argue is that if the initial killing in the team fight doesn't actually go Team Bad English's way, they don't have a lot of lockdown after that, right? Like, you've got Fiend's Grip, which is single target. If the Avalanche doesn't actually work out, it's got a super long cooldown on that spell. So Lemondogs might be able to capitalize on whiffed spells here.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But I mean, so far the draft, and to be honest, is very, very strong. But there's one thing that it really depends on is if they can get farm on both Tiny and Juggernaut. Now we've seen from previous series that the game can be already over before any of the cores get, items, like we saw in Game 3 of our last series and Game 2 in our last series as well. Now, Dox is going to be fine in his lane. He's just sort of spam out Iron Shell should be out his lane. But it's dependent on whether Spirit Breaker and Tusk can do a lot of work in the early game to try and reduce the farm from Juggernaut and Tiny. So this last pick is going to most likely be the first support from Lemondogs, which will probably tell a lot about how they want to sort of approach the game. I think Lemondogs have already realised that they need to try and shut down the Tiny and Juggernaut probably in the early stages of the game. Because yes, they have Gyro and Wind Ranger, but Bane is going to counter the Gyro because obviously the Piercing BKB, likewise from Wind Ranger as well. So I think they need to try. Lemondogs need to try and find a timing in the early games, try and pressure Tiny and Juggernaut. I'm just wondering what kind of first support hero that will be able to do that.
Yeah, it's something where Lemondogs, I mean, yeah. It's looking really scary.
5 seconds remaining.
I also am not sure
what
Ooh.
Dazzle's fine.
Okay.
AA or Dazzle I think would have been pretty decent. I think AA wasn't banned, so I think AA would have been good. But at least Dazzle gives them the sort of defensive capabilities against IO Tiny. Like, you see IO Tiny relocate in, you can at least grave the target they're going on, and then, give them some kind of brief respite. Same goes for when Jug ult is on Omnislash as well. So I think Dazzle or AA would have been a good pick. So overall, I think both drafts are very strong. Obviously, I think Team Bad English have got they've got a weirdish draft. I think if they can get farm, I think their draft's going to be stronger in the mid to late game, but then at the same time they do have their inherent weaknesses in the early game if Lemondogs can exploit it.
100%. I do agree with you though. I'm a bit worried. I mean, Dazzle, so it's one of those things, obviously if the Dazzle isn't the target that they go on, lots of stuff can happen. If they go on the Dazzle, right, Tiny can blow up that Dazzle before anything has to happen, and there is
5 seconds remaining.
You know when you hear the scratching sound and it's like maybe someone's typing?
Yeah, I can hear it, yeah.
Yeah, I always get worried that we're getting remakes because I've had that happen before. And so on.
Yeah, I can hear it though. But Dazzle's a good hero as well. Like, it gives them the ability to kind of get aggressive in the early game as well. It's kind of weird, obviously, saying that Dazzle can get aggressive in the early game, because obviously he doesn't really have any aggressive capabilities like a Rubik or a Spirit Breaker. But because he has his team like Spirit Breaker to get aggressive, he can kind of allow them to get even more aggressive because of his defensive capabilities like Grave or like Shadow Wave. And talking of early aggression, actually, they pop a 5-man Stoke before the game's even started.
I really like this. I mean, you have the Tusk, right? It's what we talked about last game. You go for the early kill. You try to see if you can pick someone off, because with 5 people in one snowball, you often get the first blood, although be careful of the return exchange, so we'll see. Either way, let's quickly get into our introductions. We've got Steph Style on that Spirit Breaker, Krilly on the Gyrocopter, Eris Loco on the Tusk, 5 on the Windrunner, and Frigolite on that Dazzle, bringing up the rear, and I see a smoke that might be connecting. We have the charge coming out onto Godrox. He may just spin here, trying to get away from a lot of action. Of course, there's no bash. If you don't have the bash leveled up, there's only the initial stun. Let's see if they can catch him out. They actually go with Ice Shards, and as you said, they are sick. They are beautiful. Godrox, he is going to fall to these auto attacks. That is going to be frustrating.
What a shard zone from that time. That's not an easy shards to hit, but perfectly blocks him out. And as a result, gets the first blood. But going over Bad English's players, you got Gigi, or Giga, on the Bane. We have the Speed of Life for the Tiny. Gedrox, who died on the Juggernaut. And for the Wisp, we have Zenganata, or Zengata, or Zenigata.
I just call him Zenny. I'm really lazy.
That's like easier. And then finally, we have Pone on the Darkseer.
Yeah. So I just call him Zenny. I've casted this guy a few times. Every time I try to say Zenigata or whatever in a team fight, everything whiffs. Everything goes wrong. Suddenly I'm saying bananas instead of what I'm meant to be saying. It's like the time I called Matumba Man, Matumba Banana or something. It was just too long of a name. So either way, we've got a charge coming out onto Pone up top. even if this does connect, oh, he actually might be in a lot of trouble. The gyrocopter's coming forwards. There's still quite a few creeps, and Pone is only level 1. Oh, he's got all of an ion shell to help him away. Frigolite going in for the body blocks. He needs to be able to get around this because here comes Krill. He has the rocket barrage, but there are too many creeps around. That looks like Pone's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, nice escape there. In the meantime, Wisp actually dewarded this camp here, which is very, very important. It allows him to both these two camps to allow sort of Tiny to completely steroid farm in the mid game. So important deward there, and expect them stacks to be coming up very, very shortly.
So it's pretty common to see the IO doing this, and it's something where IO's timings are really interesting. I feel like you want to hit that level 6, ideally before the 14-minute mark, and having stacks that you can share the experience with your Tiny is kind of how you do that.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that's also important to know actually is because he had to waste 1 sentry here to deward this big camp, they only had 1 sentry to deward the pool camp over here. As a result, this one actually missed, and as a result, this Bane is going to be forced to sort of sit in the lane with Juggernaut, and Tusk's going to get all the experience he wants because, you know, there's no way they can get lane control back. So, good play so far from Lemondogs, honestly.
Yeah, and with that, Tusk, he is level 3. Dogs is having a bit of a rough time, only level 2, but with that surge up, he should be able to escape as you saw him. And he can even pop over to the jungle. It's not the greatest of lives, but you can. So.
Yeah. The one problem with Darks to rotate into the jungle is obviously you don't want to take the farm that IO Tiny is going to get, so you're kind of limited to these 3 camps, but seeing as both of these camps are blocked by the Magic Bush Ward, he's only really left with this one, which just isn't very efficient. Bottom lane though, Tusk might be going down.
Yeah, as we say this, he's taken some of those spirits to the face, and Gadrock's gonna get that last hit on the Juggernaut. A nice play there. Good to help his farm up. I mean, an early death, it matters, but you can come back from it very easily.
So actually Darks has actually resorted to taking both these camps though,
Yeah.
which I think, I don't know, it's the trade-off obviously, like Darks needs farm, but then at the same time, like, you're going to reduce not only the Wisp and Tiny's farm, but just in terms of the early level 6 as you mentioned for the Wisp as well. And that all goes back to Darks here having struggling time in the offlane.
Oh gosh, and he didn't kill them in time, so he doesn't get either of them to... Oh goodness. That's really awful. You know, that's just another wave miss, not getting the respawns there. So.
Yeah. The thing is though, is that because the Spirit Breaker was top, like, he feels threatened to go top lane, but like that one pick or that one kind of play from the Spirit Breaker kind of impacts the rest of the game plan from Bad English. So allows Dazzler to rotate mid now as well, because Darks is not in the top lane, and so it gives Tiny and IO even a harder time. So yeah, this Darks not being in lane is really actually hurting Bad English's sort of game plan so far.
Yep. 100%. So we're going to be seeing Gadrox on the bottom lane. He's getting a decent amount of farm, as is the Tiny, of course, in the mid. Although, as I say that, we have a charge coming out again onto Pone and a full rocket barrage. He's going to eat that, but he should be able to surge away. It's not quite enough damage, but still, it's really scary as a Doxy who doesn't even have your soul ring up to get some excess regen.
Yeah.
Oh, and did
Actually,
Io
Wisp
just
going
get
on the
tossed onto Frigolite? He manages to hit him with all of the balls before the heal comes out. So well played.
That was actually really well played by the Wisp there. You see like how his... Excuse me, sorry, my throat is going
Radiant's
AWOL.
middle tower is
You see
under
how the
attack.
spirits there were actually run out of cooldown? Like,
Yeah.
he was able to get all the spirits from the previous cooldown and then able to reinitiate with another load of spirits.
Oh, and they're
causing
going
massive
in on
amount of damage.
5, and this is 3 heroes here. Does get the wind run away. Do they have any sort of follow-up? Maybe they just try to turn around on Frigolite, who's taking way too much damage. Doesn't have another Shadow Wave. But they get the Shackle onto Speed of Life. Io does not have the tether up. There it goes, but the Tiny goes down anyway, and a bash coming up from Steph Style. Can they get some more with the Poison Orb? Yeah, they get it. Orb of Venom, doing work, slowing down that Io, and no escape. So suddenly what looked to be an easy gank on Windrunner involving 3 heroes. Easy turnaround, and this Windrunner is suddenly level 6, while the Tiny is only level 5.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about in the draft, how the wind run is just so useful against both the Tiny and Wisp, because it just gives you that extra bit of space between the two, able to get out. Because normally, obviously, the tether move speed is the kind of gap closer, but because obviously wind run gives you movement speed as well, it allows you to really get away from the final or 2 auto attacks from the Tiny. So, yep, nice play so far.
Now, Eris Loco gonna be picking up boots, I have to assume, and Speed of Life. I mean, this Tiny, after that tumble, you can look at the net worth. He's not doing so great. He's going to be needing stacks, as we talked about. The stacks not exactly existing. This Windrunner, top of the net worth chart. She's also gone home just for a second. It looks like she's thinking about going bottom for a gank. They have a charge out, and oh goodness, it is going to be Giga and Gadrock's target of their aggression. And oh, nothing you can do here is a Bane, especially with no mana. I mean, you could have tried for a self-deny, but he was short, just a little.
Yeah, nice rotation for a Wind Ranger actually. Something you don't really see a lot, honestly, is Wind Ranger trying to get aggressive. But I mean, when you have a hero like Tusk and Spirit Break who kind of enable your heroes to just be able to do so much more damage because of obviously the blocking mechanism from the Ice Shards, it allows Wind Ranger to really get involved, and working out quite well for Lemondogs.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I don't think I've ever seen a level 6 Windrunner rotate. You know, level 8 maybe. Level 6, generally not, but obviously it worked out. Everything going to be going great for them. And Tiny now getting some help from the IO, going to spam that casual toss action a little bit more. I think it's still really rough in this mid lane. They needed to get some kills on the Tiny, ideally, against the Windrunner. Oh, a lot of Eden of Wards. And actually, down bottom, we've got Steph Style down here again. So maybe they can make something happen, but the Jug isn't the easiest of kills. As I say that, Ice Shards put him in a perfect position. Is there going to be a charge from Steph Style? Decides not to go for it.
Yeah. And yeah, going actually middle lane. They
Yeah,
toss
it's going to be
back
the
on, nice
toss
back.
backwards, but I'm not sure it's enough. She actually gets really slowed up going through the tether. They forced a TP rotation, and there's a charge coming in. The Shackle, it doesn't latch, and so Zenigata may be fine, but they're going in for the charge. They can catch out this IO here. He's very low. They've used the Focus Fire, but the Ice Shards actually push him out. But Zenigata comes back in. Oh, goodness, has a Death Wish. The Focus Fire doing a lot of work. Snowball off to the side, and it looks like Team Bad English not going to catch anybody out here.
Oh, this is a really nice play actually from Lemondogs. That was a really nice disengage right there. Nice secure kill on the eye and get out. Yeah, Lemondogs are playing very, very solid right now actually.
Yeah, I definitely think that they are a solid team. Team Bad English, I've seen them take games off of some of the more... They're kind of an up-and-coming team. Lemondogs, I think, has been in the scene for a while. Team Bad English certainly taking games off of some of the more well-known team, but I haven't seen them yet seal the deal in a best-of-3 out against a lot of people.
Yeah. So just going back to the stacks actually, they got one stack here, but I think that honestly is hurting Tiny quite a bit, as well as the Wisp, because obviously Darkseid was sort of forced to go into the jungle because he had a kind of hard, rough time. Like this Tiny's having a bad time, and Windrunner's actually done very, very well, seeing as he was 1v2, he's like 44 CS compared to Tiny's 35, so doing very, very well actually. And I think this could definitely hurt in the mid game because, like we saw in the last series, how Windrunner or whatever his name is can really sort of struggle if he doesn't get his farm. But seeing as he's got this much in their laning phase actually, I think he's going to be a very strong hero to deal with in the mid game.
Yeah, and Darkseid just a little bit out of position in the top lane going down. So, but as you mentioned, it is something where the Windrunner, long time to get online. If you give her this much space, I mean, she's top of the net worth shot. Really wasn't expecting that. Right up there with Gyrocopter, who's also doing well. This IO Tiny draft now looking really rough, and we said it in the draft. We thought that Lemondogs would have to really outplay Team Bad English's Wombo combo. They're doing good work at it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talked about how in the early laning stage they need to find kills, and they're definitely doing it. Pressuring sort of Tiny particularly. And actually talking of that, they do secure the kill on Dazzle though.
Yeah, Dazzle just goes down immediately, takes the combo to the face. Tiny can't really go back in because of course Avalanche cooldown for years. May just casually try to toss Windrunner back, and that does force Windrunner to retreat a little.
Yeah. But I mean, the one thing they haven't done really yet though is they haven't really pressured this Jug too much. Yes, he's got one death, but that was obviously before the laning stage even began. He does have pretty decent net worth. He's just a little bit below both the Windrunner and the Gyrocopter. He's actually building towards drums as well, so you're not going to see the battle through which we normally see. I think this is probably the right decision, seeing as you have both the Tiny and obviously sort of the dual core lineup. You're not really relying 100% on the Juggernaut to sort of carry you late game. So trying to have items that will help you in the mid game before you get run over, I think is probably the way forward in this draft.
And while I do think there's obvious synergy with a Vacuum and then having some Cleave, the Tiny's going to be going Ags. I mean, there's no build involving a Tiny that doesn't involve Ags, unless your Alk is feeding it to you. So you've got inbuilt Cleave, there's going to be drums on Tiny, drums on Juggernaut. You're just... It seems nice. Oh, is he just going to go for the ult? No. Okay, I thought he might ult to the low ground, but of course it's really rough to do that. Although if you ult to Eris Loco and there was no one around,
it was an invis.
Yeah,
it was like if he ulted there, like he would have got all 3 slashes off, but then invis would have been picked up and he wouldn't be able to secure the kill. So, right play, right decision.
Only Rune that. Oh, I guess Illusion maybe could have also allowed that. I think he might have been able to catch with a haste, but
Maybe.
yeah, we're gonna be seeing Eris Loco wandering around with that invis. They do know about it. Jug would have called that, so maybe he won't be able to make as much connect, and Pwn backing out.
Dire's
Yep.
bottom tower is under
Um,
attack.
So yeah, I think for the time being, like I said, like for the game plan for Bad English is just to try and secure the farm on Tiny and Juggernaut. The problem is obviously when you run out like a Tiny IO combination, IO really isn't able to do anything really in the early game. Like, so you're kind of relying on the other support. In this case, Bane can't do much until he's level 6 to set up kills. And seeing as Dox is just one of those heroes that you kind of just send in the offlane and leave him at that, he's not able to make space either. But they do have some stacks going now for the Tiny as well, so just building up on him. He's got to go drums as well, which I think is probably the right item choice to try and secure those early to mid game kind of stat build up items to help them in any kind of up and coming engagements.
Yeah, so I think also something else to mention, we've seen this trap earlier. You don't want to have your cores not come online fast enough, and so of course going the drums and on these heroes gonna be good. Jug also picks up the Aquila, finishes his drums. Tiny has his drums. I am not sure whether he's. I think it's a game to go the Ags, but oh, we have a relocate gank coming out. It's a little bit questionable. It's just the IO. Oh goodness, he's kind of there as backup, but of course Juggernaut, that level 1 ult, it doesn't do much. There's gonna be a cooldown. Good by IO. No time to get the relocate back, and Pwn, he jumps the wall, but to no avail. Actually, Pwn, one more auto attack will pick him off. I'm not sure if he meant to latch onto the Tiny and just didn't quite get the timing.
Yeah, I honestly didn't see it, unfortunately, but as a result, that solo IO relocate was not what they wanted. Secured the kill on both, not only IO, but the Darkster as well. They're going to be able to get the top tower as well. So yeah, that was very, very unfortunate for Bad English.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
We've got a charge coming into Gadrox. There's going to be mass TPs, and again, we're going to be seeing a 4v2 to speed up Life Path a way out. Snowball onto him. They actually back out on Eris Loco. He uses the Warrior's Punch onto Gadrox, but now the IO is being tossed in. He needs to pull those balls back in to do some damage, but instead he goes down. And again, the IO sacrifice. A beautiful shackle coming out, and with the charge, doesn't matter about the Nightmare. Cooldown's back off cooldown. Pwn tries to do something, but Steph Styles going to survive on 8 health. And they might even be able to catch out Pwn here if they're not careful. There are a few more shots of flag. Oh, okay, it's gonna be fine. But yeah, this isn't looking great for the lineup of Team Bad English. They're falling behind in a number of these team fights, and they're not really getting any sort of solo pickoffs. First relocate at the game, being very underwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this goes back to Bane. Like, you just hit level 6 right there, and that was before the engagement even happened. But they don't have any lockdown. We talked about in the draft how really it's only Tiny and Bane, and when Bane's at level 6, then it's only the Tiny. And I think that's definitely hurting them, because Lemondogs are just sort of running at Bad English, and Bad English have no kind of response to it. And at least they have the Bane level 6 now. They've got obviously relocate again off cooldown for IO, so perhaps they can try and find a pick-off if it comes available.
Yeah. So there's going to be immediately a charge coming out onto Giga. And I think they're going to need backup. The Tusk is working on getting on the way there, but I imagine this is going to be cancelled. It's just a nice way to get the lane and make sure you have a whole bunch of vision. And yeah,
they actually spotted out this ward that he placed as well, so good catch there by the Spirit Breaker. So they were charging the Bane, and Bane put down a ward here, so going to de-ward that eventually as well.
Yeah, it's just really nice. All of this extra value. I mean, we often see the Spirit Breaker kind of emphasized against heroes like Quap, Anti-Mage, and Ember Spirit, those super mobile things. But having vision of a target, you can check its inventory, say, hey, wards went down while you were standing right there. What's up with that? And this smoke, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was scouted by this ward.
Middle tower has been denied.
So, we will see whether it can latch, but they're going in. There's going to be a relocate as well. Immediately, the Shallow Grave is going to try to TP out, but vacuum backwards, and I think that you just give up friggily, save the rest of your team. But no, a stun toss combo comes out. Eris Loco also gets the hold. The charge going onto Gadrox. Can they get the bashes through the spin? He no longer has that ult. They go for the Nether Strike, and oh goodness, you're losing a hard carry. For some supports, it's, given how far behind they are on Team Bad English, I think it's still favorable for them, but it's really rough to lose the Jug there.
Yeah, the Jug was just a little bit too over aggressive. Like, he was trying to fight into like Joro, who had a dazzle sitting behind him as well. They got the Tusk edge because Tusk went a little bit too out of position, got caught by the tiny combination. But Jug was well too deep. As a result, got punished for it.
Yeah. Now I imagine he might be going Sandra Yosha next. Tiny building up that Aghanims, and then after that, you need probably an AC, maybe just a casual Moonshot, because of course you need attack speed. Even with the overcharge, it's better to have more attack speed. So,
yeah, I think AC would be a little bit better than the Moonshot, just because there's a lot of physical presence coming from Jaro and Windrunner.
It's always better, but I think sometimes just because if they're behind, sometimes we'll see the Moonshot come out just to make sure they have that damage. It's really, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I've seen it a number of times now.
So they've got Io and Tiny top actually. They've got to relocate in 5 seconds. They might try and find a kill, maybe bottom.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can. Yeah, it's like a bit of posturing here. I'm actually surprised by how spread out Lemondogs are playing against a relocate lineup, but I guess they're just not feeling that worried.
And they have Dazzle behind them, like, or behind this Jaro anyway, so like, there's no way they can really kill the Gyrocopter. And bot, I mean, Spirit Breaker and Tusk are both pretty tanky, so they might feel able to be able to play this far out, I guess.
Windrunner just finished a 16-minute Aghanims. I don't have
That's
the stats
fast.
on hand. Yeah, that's really fast, this patch.
Normally it's like 18, 19 minutes, even 20 minutes normally, but
Yeah.
and she was 1v2 as well. She was against Tiny Io, like, which isn't the easiest thing, but she played it very, very well. And the hero does, like I said, a little bit quite well against Io Tiny just because of the Windrun and power shot capabilities, but still very, very well. She's gonna be picking up a blink probably around like 20, 21 minutes, depending on how well the team fights go.
Yeah. Just a very big Windrunner, and of course that blink always so powerful against the Tiny Io. You just have to find the right spot, and you can always shackle them because of the tether. So it's going to be interesting. Either way, Tusk also, I'm not sure what he's working on. I have to imagine he's going to be the mech carrier, since they don't have anybody else who could go for it.
Yeah. This Tiny and Io have been up here, by the way, for the last like
Yeah.
minute or two actually, and I think this is the like he hasn't been farming that much honestly, which is a bit of a problem because I think it's fine if he goes the blink first, but he's rushing Ags and he's kind of looking to try and find these kills and he's not finding them honestly. So missed a little bit of farm efficiency unfortunately, but he's getting some farm now at least, and there might be an engagement mid though.
They've got a 3-man smoke rotation coming from behind as Windrunner. She's going in. Omni Slash, of course, doesn't care about your evasion, but they use it on somebody else. The Dazzle immediately taken out. They get the shackle, they get the cooldown, and everybody is looking to be dead. But in comes Tiny. Krillin getting very low. He's also taking a lot of earn charges. Finally ticks out from that. Warrior's Punch up on the sidelines onto the Juggernaut. And the Wisp is relocated back to whence he came in that top lane, but Tiny, oh, he's not able to make it latch, and they're just charging out, making sure they get out. So a pretty, I mean, I think that Team Bad English came out on top since they took out the Gyro. Still not the cleanest of fights.
It wasn't that clean, as I said, it's kind of a little bit split actually. They might catch the Spirit Breaker. Oh my god, that was so close. Wasn't able to get him unfortunately. But yeah, that team went so well for Bad English though, because they blew up the Dazzle instantly. Omni Slash from Juggernaut just killed him straight away. Level 2 Omni Slash was able to secure the kill on that. And then no Grave, no Weave, no any kind of Shadow Wave shenanigans, and so they won the fight pretty handily because of that.
So Stuff Style going for that big old charge in onto the Ios, and he is gonna take a bit of damage. He misses the stun. The Avalanche not quite working out Io. The tether wasn't far enough, so he's not gonna get away so easily, and he explodes.
2 of those stuns there, then Avalanche combos just haven't been on point, unfortunately, from Tiny. Actually, bottom lane though, this Windrunner might be in trouble.
Windrunner is in a lot of trouble, gets up a shackle. She's just gonna go for the TP. Does she have it? I think she does. Avalanche comes out just a second too late. What a play.
I think that might have been actually the wrong decision from Jug though. I think that Blade Fury did less damage than his auto attacks with Blade Dance on actually.
Yeah.
I don't know, it would have been close regardless, but I think if he did spin, he might have been able to secure the kill because Windrunner was not activated by Windrunner before she TP'd.
Also lucky crits, right? Can always...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but it was close regardless. But anyway, middle lane.
Yeah, I think they're getting this. I mean, they're coming in from the lineup of Team Bad English. Oh, actually, they're backing out on Lemondogs. They're thinking about it. They get the deny from the Tiny, and now they want more. They've thrown out some business onto Eris Loco. He has an earn as well. Dodges the Avalanche with the snowball, and here comes the cooldown, but it's not going to hit on anybody. And now Steph Style suddenly in the backlines. He's locking them down for so long. He's trying to go on the IO, but there's the mech healing him up, and now Krillin pulled through that wall. Immediately throws out the shallow grave, but suddenly Lemondogs on the back line. They picked off the IO, but they may be losing cause for this. Spirit Breaker goes down, and Krillin, I don't know what he does. He's trying to get away from that Blade Fury, but he's just going to take a Brain Sap to the face, and This is the wombo combo I was expecting out of Team Bad English. I mean, Docs here, showing up.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that Jug Omni Slash did so much work. He killed the Dazzle and the Spirit Breaker, like, just by itself. That one spell killed both of the zeros, and yes, the Grave eventually did come out, but it just wasn't enough. Like, the Bad English, now they've got kind of their farm on both of their cores. The team fights are getting very, very scary now for Bad English.
They're about to have the Ags up on the Tiny, so his damage output increasing. And as you said, Sanj and Yasha, I mean, finish on Jug, stuff gets scary. Look at that net worth graph. It's all over the place. It's boom, boom, boom. So, Team Bad English finally bringing it back to even, and I feel like Lemondogs, despite the fantastic start on this Windrunner, who is still, you know, she still hasn't died, 7-0 and 3, she needs a damage item, really, and then she needs her team to really make sure that, one, she's there, and that they have lockdown.
Yeah, two things that have happened in the team fight, so the last 3 team fights that have really not gone Lemondog's way, is one of them is that Dazzle's dying far too early. Like, I think his position needs to be a little bit more far back, because he's not getting off good graves or good weaves because he's dying too quickly to the Omni Slash. Secondly, is that Bane's getting a full grip onto Gyrocropt and hold that fort. Docs is going down. Yeah,
he is going down. There's going to be another strike. I caught it. There was the charge. He walked by this ward down here. They're actually going to ping slightly the wrong spot for where the ward is, but Docs here probably frustrated by that. He does have his Blink Dagger already up though. So it's something where I feel like this Doxy, he is ready to rumble.
Yeah, but just going back, it also is that they're clumping quite a bit as well. So these Doxy vacuum combos are doing so much work. So I think if Lemondogs perhaps, you know, try and focus a little bit more on their positioning, they can do fine. Or if they need to get the initiation themselves, because if they get the initiation themselves, then they can sort of position themselves to make sure that when the fight happens, they'll be in a good stance. But regardless, they're going to do Roche now. They're going to trade that for a tier 2 tower top. I think that's a trade that Lemondogs will welcome. Aegis now on Gyrocopter, but Ags now on Tiny, as you stated before, and this is the point where it gets very, very hard for Lemondogs, I think, because they've got farm on Tiny, now they've got farm on Juggernaut. They've kind of gone over the sort of the hump of the early stage, and now they're able to kind of play the game they want to play. So Lemondogs are going to really need some big plays, honestly, and I think this comes down to some big shackle shots here from the Wind Ranger.
Big shackles, but also, I mean, this is rough. They don't know that they're smoked up on the lineup of Lemondogs, and just finishing, lucky timing on finishing that stack. And now Krille heading back into base, feeling like it's been a while since they've seen them, but it's rough. They need big shackle shocks. I also think they need to get a little bit lucky with how Steph Style charges in. If he can charge onto the back lines, I think it's it's an easy win. But of course, charging is never that easy because you don't know exactly who's going to be in the back, who's going to help you path right on through that team. And we have a smoke engagement. There's the Nightmare on Gyrocopter. He's still outputting damage. A vacuum wall combo again, as we said. And now this sets up perfectly for the speed of life. If he can just get in there, Krille is already gone down, but they've also picked off the Bane. And there's the Shackle. Pone, he's already used his toolkit though. I'm not quite sure that's the one you wanted to kill. And Windrunner, she's getting up close and personal, but she needs to be careful not to take anything. There is going to be a shallow grave keeping Krille alive, but he's still being chased after. Wisp taken out on the backlines. He's still not dead yet. And 5 runs through that, takes the toss, goes down, kills both of them, gets the godlike streak. This Tiny suddenly rich, rocking up 3k gold, gonna be the charge away. I mean, that was a disaster for Lemondogs. And the Tiny getting the 2 kills there at the end. He also had a DD in that team fight. Ridiculous.
That fight was pretty crazy, actually. There was a couple of things that went really, really well. There was obviously a big shackle from Wind Ranger, as you said. That toss, honestly, was the reason why they kind of won that team fight, though. They secured both the kill on Tusk and Wind Ranger by throwing himself, so that was pretty cool looking, actually. But again, it all started from a massive vac combo from the Darks here. But I think that's kind of what Lemondogs needed to do. Like they got the kill onto the Bane, which is important because it stopped any kind of fiend script. But they clumped, and as when they clumped, a massive vac combo happened from Darks here, and it just really cost him because Tiny was able to get his combo off onto 3 people, I think, plus the cleave. So as long as they can have perhaps a bit of a better positioning, yes, they should take the initiation, like get a kill onto maybe the Bane again, but they need to be careful of the positioning. Now I think that all comes down to vision, honestly, because I think they didn't have any vision around here, so they didn't know that Bad English was there. But regardless, it was okay. I think it was a 2-for-2 trade overall, but they did lose the Aegis and Gyrocopter, which was the reason why Bad English did win the fight ultimately.
Yeah. So, I mean, they get to pick up a lot of items. We've now got a gem also up on the Bane. So you're gonna just help them. Actually, he did this thing I really love to see where folks just kind of take the gem out for a walk. put it back in their base when it's time. So nice to see that as well. Eagle Song casually up on Godroct, understanding that if Windrunner is forced into, I mean, feeling like she needs a BKB, and then if she's forced into, after that, going for an MKB, there's going to be a long while before she can touch these heroes.
Yeah. I think BKB would be a good pickup on Gyrocopter as well. They need a way to, like, if you think of the lockdown here from Bad English, it literally is, as we said before, Bane and Tiny. So if BKB stops at least the Tiny combo, and now all they have to really worry about is the Bane. And they have they have the Wind Range, the Spirit Breaker, and they have the Tusk to sort of cancel that Fiend Script. So as long as one of them people are sort of determined on cancelling the Fiend Script, Gyrocopter at least is going to get as much damage out as possible.
So it looks like they're going for a smoke up again. They can get the easy pick off on the Jug in the midish area, but maybe they're going to look for something bigger. They're actually chillaxing here still. I'm a little confused. Did someone break it? No, they just haven't gone yet.
They don't want to go without Wind Ranger though. Like, Wind Ranger was up top, so it might have been actually a bit of miscommunication, because they popped full man smoke and Wind Ranger was not with them. Yeah. He goes Deso as well. That's really interesting.
Okay, I didn't mention it because I really didn't think it would be the option. This is going to help them melt heroes. As long as she's out of Craggy range as well, which she can be as a Windrunner, it should help her really take down the Tiny fast, but you're still in trouble with the Juggernaut, and oh yeah, you snowball that illusion.
So the problem with Deso on Wind Ranger is, and the reason why we don't see it a lot, is yes, it is very, very strong. Yes, you have great burst potential with the Desolator, plus obviously the Focus Fire, the minus armor, etc., etc. The reason why we don't see it though is because there's literally 3 items, probably about 4 items you probably want on Wind Ranger. That's Blink, Ags, BKB, and probably Daedalus as well. Now that does not allow you to get MKB in that matchup, and seeing as Jug is building his way towards Butterfly, he's going to either have to miss Daedalus or he's going to have to miss BKB, which are both very, very critical for Wind Ranger lineup. So this is why we don't really see it, but the factors that it does offers a lot more mid-game presence than, say, a Daedalus or baby crit, as you say. Because obviously, in terms of cost efficiency, it's a lot better to buy a Desolator than it is to buy the Chrysalis. So in terms of the next one team fight, this Desolator is going to be a lot more useful, but going into the later stage of the game, he's really going to suffer from not having either BKB or Daedalus or MKB. So we'll have to wait and see. But at the same time, the next team fight could be the thing that changes the game, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and it could just swing either way. I feel like we're at the stage, at least for Team Bad English, if they take another engagement, you're going to be seeing Rax go down. Tiny will burn through these things, and he does finish up that AC. For Lemondogs, I mean, if they win a good engagement, they'll get themselves ahead. Windrunner with a Deso will also burn through buildings, but I think it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah, definitely. Jaro's closing in on his BKB, only about 300 gold away, and that's maybe when we'll see the Lemondogs smoke and try and find a pick-off, perhaps on the rest of Bad English. I like what Bad English are doing right now, though. It's getting to sort of the mid to late stage of the game, and they're in 3s and 2s, and actually there might be an engagement here.
Speaking of 3s and 2s, 3 of them without the other 2 going to be found out here. There's going to be a cooldown, but there's immediately a wall into an Omni slash 2 already dead. Windrunner might get the Bane, but look at the rest of them, and there's folks coming in from that relocate, and now it's looking dire for Lemondogs. They've lost 3. I don't know how 5 is going to catch anyone else, and in fact, she's not just going to blink away and TP out. The immediate melting, the wall vacuum combo was too good.
Yeah, definitely, and they have obviously the Tiny and Wisp as well, so they can be off on the map, sort of pressuring towers and sort of getting even more farm. And if their engagement does happen, they've got Wisp and Tiny to easily locate. Actually, Tiny might be in trouble though.
I don't think he meant to toss her, but manages to get it off. She is walking away on the Tiny. Let's see what they can do. Now he's buffed up by the IO, and suddenly they realize they need to get the way away from him. So, what were you saying?
Man, I think they misread that situation there. Yes, IO was coming in, but it's 3v2 right there, honestly. And unfortunately, Gyrocopter and Wind Ranger, I guess they assumed that the rest of Bad English was coming as well. Oh my god, what's that shackle?
Yes, it is gonna be the Shackle of Dreams. Can he get the focus by? It looks like it should be burning through the Wisp. They get the stun onto both though, so I don't know if they're gonna catch out the Tiny. The Nether Strike, they couldn't get vision for it with the power shot. I think he would have gone for that.
What was that shackle?
This is beautiful.
That was like the 5,000 range shackle.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was insane.
Also, you know how
Holy shit.
The shackle follows you, like if you TP and stuff,
Yeah,
and then you're just
yeah,
frustrated, you're like, I TP'd out of this business? But yeah, that was shackle.
That was mad. Man, that was crazy. But regardless though, just going back to the point though, it's got into the stage obviously that Tiny and Juggernaut are just such a big threat. Like, not in terms of single target, but in terms of AoE as well. Actually, oh, Blink just away from Wind Ranger.
Okay,
Nice
yes. We can see that she has a lot of damage output here, but as you mentioned, it's rough.
Just single target, which is the problem. Whereas Jug offers, obviously, the Omni strategy is practically AoE. Obviously, Tiny's combo is AoE, plus his auto attacks are AoE because of his cleave as well. Like, so it's kind of like 2 AoE carries versus 1 in the sides of Lemondogs, obviously, just with the gyrocopter. And I think Lemondogs did do pretty good in the early games, try and pressure, the Tiny and Juggernaut. Perhaps it just wasn't enough though.
It's just the wombo combo.
Yeah, it really is. Like that the Darkseer as well is just something that they just like if you compare the 2 offlaners, like in terms of Tusk and Darkseer, yes, Tusk secured a lot of early kills, but this Darkseer in the late game is just offering so much because of the wall combos.
And because the Tiny can always be away, like, they think on Lemondogs, maybe we can go in on these 3 heroes here. You can't, because there's going to be a relocate unless you get the Shackle of Dreams, you take out the Darkseer, and I think the the Juggernaut before the Omni Slash comes out, maybe. But otherwise, you're in a bad spot. And we talked about it, we said Lemondogs had to be ahead. I do think they outplayed them early, but then Team Bad English, their lineup's so much easier to execute as the game progresses.
It really is. And so, like, the only way they can kind of get ahead, I think, is if they can get a pick off. But when you're playing against IO Tiny, like, you always have to be scared of the IO relocate, honestly, because the last 2 or 3 team fights just not been in favour of Lemondogs, honestly. But they're going to maybe try on Jug here middle lane, but to no avail.
Yep. There's also just so much superior sustain coming out of Team Bad English. They've got an IO, they've got the Guardian Greaves up on Darkseer. Yeah, you have actually, no, nobody has a mech at all. I thought for sure Tusk would be going for that, but Tusk, in fact, has a blink. So, no mech on the lineup of Lemondogs. They're going to get this rush on, but they may be wombo comboed on right afterwards, because it's looking like Team Bad English. They do not fear that secondary life, and they're thinking about coming in.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Dogs have the advantage is that they have the die advantage, obviously, plus the Death Soul from Wind Ranger is able for them to get Roshan very, very quickly. But I mean, without Aegis, I think they'd be in a very bad situation right now. But at least with Aegis, they have some kind of brief respite from Bad English now. But I'd like to see them try and make some kind of play here with this Aegis and gyrocopter, because so far, outside of the early game from Lemondogs, I think Bad English has kind of had full control of this game, honestly, like with the IO Tiny relocates and the massive vac combos and stuff. So I'd like to see them get aggressive. Perhaps it could be from a smoke or maybe a solo pick off perhaps from the Wind Ranger, but obviously easier said than done.
I'm actually really impressed. Oh, we have a charge coming out. Do they get the Shackle? They do onto the Catapult. They throw out the dust finally. They're working in on the Tiny. He's going to turn around. The Avalanche doesn't hit on the Wind Runner though, so he didn't do any damage to the one he needs to, and now there's going to be a big cooldown. The damage at this point in the game though, not quite enough, but they end up getting both kills either way. So, I mean, but that was what? That was 5v... Yeah, that was 5v2, and they still lost one. So a bit rough, albeit that's Tiny combo for you. I also want to say I am actually impressed by Lemondogs. The net worth chart I thought was going to be much worse than just the 5,000 gold lead and only 1,000 experience lead.
Yeah, they kept up in farm, which is good. I'm surprised, I don't know what happened there with IO's relocate though, because I thought it would have been an easy relocate save onto the Tiny, but for some reason it looked like it was on cooldown. Maybe they relocated bottom. I didn't really see, to be honest, but unfortunately I wasn't able to save the Tiny there, because I thought that would have definitely have happened. But regardless, so nice from Lemondogs, able to secure a kill on Tiny, plus the tier 2 tower bot. I think that's all they're going to get though. Maybe they're going to try and force out a buyback from Tiny, but I think that might be a little bit too risky, honestly.
It's a really ambitious play, and it's really scary up against a Darkseer with a blink to go for this. They may actually just all 3 of them pay with their lives, which really sucks as well, because Krille was getting very, very close to that MKB, but 5, he's going for it. They're actually pinging, telling them to get... Oh no, that's actually Radiant pinging. 5 is standing low ground, I guess not wanting to be vacuumed, just blinks away. Goodbye, Krille, she says. I will leave you to die.
Relocate.
Oh, there is going to be the relocate, but it's just standing out alone in the Shackle, latches onto the Godrogs as well. He's going to end up getting off that Omni Slash, I think, but if they can share it correctly, oh gosh, no, it's just going to be all on Bloody Steph style. He's going to go down. This is going to be a Fiend's Grip for Krille. He has a secondary life and the Shallow Grave, but if they take out the Dazzle, not too much he can do, and the IO buys back. Windrunner nowhere to be found, has TP'd out. I actually think that they could have maybe toned that a little bit more, but they decide to let Krille go down twice.
Man, Bad English were really lucky right there. Like, I made a complete mistake there by not tearing tire, obviously, with the relocate. But regardless, though, Lemondogs, as we stated before, it was a little bit risky, and they did definitely pay for it. Tusk wasn't with them in that engagement, and as a result, Gyrocopter sort of cost his sort of team fight there. But Tiny did, I mean, IO did buy back, but really it's nothing big, honestly, in terms of what actually happened. Now they're going to go down mid. Pretty forced out a buyback from Gyrocopter.
Except he has none. Because he tried to buy the MKB bits as he went down. I don't think he thought the push would be coming this fast, but against a Tiny...
They're going to lose racks then.
Yeah. Tiny can do this now. Windrunner, she needs to get the Shackle of Dreams, which I believe she's already gotten 3 times this game. So she has to find another one here somewhere. She goes for the power shot. She could blink to the side. No, the Shackle doesn't latch, though. Now, as you said, I think this is easily Rax. Jug working on one. Tiny working on the other. Walrus Man gonna come in, punch her, disable, but he's slowed down so much by the tether going over his head. Testile goes for a charge on the back line. He's gonna pay with his life. Shallow Grab coming out. Now there's gonna be a 3 men through that wall vacuum combo. They have paid, Lemondogs. They have paid heavily.
Yeah. And that all goes back to them just being too greedy on the bottom lane. Like, yes, they had Aegis, but they didn't really need to force an engagement like that, and definitely did cost them. So they're 1 racks down now, and the problem is, being 1 racks down isn't really that big of a factor, because you have gyrocopters with flat cannons to really push out lanes, but the problem is, when you're playing against an IO Tiny, one racks down can just split your whole team and sort of spread your resources on the other team just very, very far and wide, because IO Tiny can sort of push top and bot and have that real good map control, because racks down mid are already taken. So it's going to be very hard for Lemondogs, even harder than it was before. But they have MKB now, Wind Ranger. Perhaps, again, they could try and find a solo pick off that got them Aegis in the first place.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, you look away from your base, maybe creeps are coming in mid a little bit, suddenly the Tiny relocates and takes your top racks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a great life to be living, but Tiny has picked up a Butterfly as well. I feel like that's kind of a popular build now. Interesting that they both went for it, seeing that Gyro is obviously building the MKB, but maybe deciding he's pretty far away from it, understanding that Windrunner, while she has one, I mean, she has to take them both down. She has to put herself in danger, because she is a gloss cannon. I know she's rocking 1700 health, but that is chump change at this point.
Yeah. Now, so this is the problem I talked about with her getting Death so light. Her last item has to either be BKB or Daedalus, but in reality she wants to have both, but she can't obviously because she doesn't have enough item slots. Now, if Bad English actually spot that, they can easily burst her down with a combination from Tiny. But actually, there's an engagement now.
They do manage to get the charge through on Tiny. Can they lock him down for long enough? But instead, he gets the toss out onto 5. 5 manages to get the shackle, but again, there's a wall vacuum, and they actually just relocate Tiny off to the safety of the sidelines. Shiva's God coming at Krille. He needs the shallow grave. They need some more damage, but 5 just standing there doing nothing, and Krille, he does manage to get out, but they've lost 3, and they're meant to somehow defend against this. I mean,
that was really nice play from Wisp, actually. Like, that relocate saved them, that team right there. The one opening that Lemondogs had is if they could burst someone down with Shackle, but because of the relocate from Io there, was able to really stop that.
And again, it looks like they're losing another Rax. It's gone. I wouldn't be surprised to see the GGs follow shortly after. They even have the Deso from the Windrunner. Being a right pain, they kill off Bane. That's something, but the gem is picked up immediately by Pwn. Eris Loco jumps forward. They're trying to get this gem off. I think it's too little too late. They only have a tier 2 in bottom, stopping them from being mega'd pretty much. And oh goodness, the Gyrocopter, he's going forwards. 5 looking for that shackle. There's going to be a very strange interaction there, but the Wisp gets out and they have no idea where Pwn is TPing away.
Yeah.
Jug is just going down. He's going to go get this. No, maybe he's going to fall matrons.
So, again, just Bad English coming out ahead, which has kind of been the story for the last 20 minutes or so when it hit into the mid-game. Yeah, they lost Io and Bane, but they're just... nothing really of worth is lost, to be honest. Now they're 2 racks down against an Io Tiny, and I mean, a third's just going to happen again sooner or later. Like, maybe the next Roche might be able to sort of stop that potentially, but for the most part, Bad English are very in firm control of this game right now.
Yeah. It is looking like Lemondogs. They have a rough hill to climb. They are almost 14,000 net worth behind, 7.5 thousand experience. It's not easy.
Yeah, going back to that butterfly though on Tiny, I really don't like it, to be honest. Like, I think the item is very, very good on Tiny, but in this particular case, I don't like it. Seeing as one of your cores already has butterfly, which being obviously the Juggernaut, but seeing as the other 2 are definitely going to build towards MKB, I think there's other items that can give you very similar effects. Like Manta would give you the agility plus the armor and attack speed, plus it would help you with split pushing even better. There's no, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of AoE from Gyrocopter and Tusk, but not enough to kill your illusions. So I definitely think Manta would have been the better decision than Wingbow. Oh, sorry, than Butterfly on Tiny here, but probably not the biggest factor, seeing as they're very, very far ahead already.
Yeah, I agree, and it is something where it doesn't feel like the best of options, but again, as you said, they're super far ahead. It's looking rough for them to lose it. They actually have to take, I think, like 3 bad team fights at least, just because of where buyback status and everything is as well.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
So Everybody on the Radiant having buyback. They're going to maybe get the jump onto Bane. As I say, this Walrus Punch is being used. There's going to be IO reload. Oh, coming in. Wall vacuum combo again. A cooldown, but at this point in the game, it does barely anything. Steph Style is dead. Omni Slash still bouncing around 5 as the Shallow Grave applied, but Krille is Fiend's gripped, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is our GG. Windrunner is still trying to make something happen, manages to actually blink to the low ground, gets a shackle off onto Tiny as well, but it's Nightmare up, and they should have enough damage to pick up 5, trying to windrun around, trying to get what kills that she can. She's actually outranging them on that spin, but with the toss coming out, no escape. Immediate buyback from Windrunner, though.
Jaro is still down though, and he doesn't have a buyback either. He's got 5 gold left actually. He's gonna have buyback when they push here. That might
I don't think they can still fight though. I mean, even if you have the gyro up,
they have to try.
Yeah, I mean it's rough. We're gonna be seeing the Lost stand.
Buyback?
He hasn't done it yet. He might be trying to wait for it to be sneaky. We've got Windrunner. She doesn't get the shackle off or anything, but they're doing quite a bit of damage to Gadrox. Nothing misses with this Windrunner. It's going to be the cooldown, as you mentioned, the buyback. They get the godlike streak, but it looks like everybody else just going to blink away, TP out.
It's definitely a worthwhile buyback though. Otherwise they lose Mega Creeps right there, so still holding on. But Roche is up though. They might be able to secure Roche in the meantime, which might give them perhaps the X factor they need to win these team fights.
I don't know if it's enough though. We've got creeps in their base. They have not the best of wave clear, even though we've mentioned gyro. It's only flat cannon every 60 seconds, you know? It's not great.
I think it's time for Jorokov to start building towards the rapier, which I don't think he's going to have enough farm to get, but he might be spotted out here actually. Yeah, he is. Oh, nice play. He doesn't have a TP either. Oh my god, is he? He's dead, right?
Is going to hide, and yes, I do believe he will be picked off eventually. They might just be waiting for him. His team might come around, try to save him. There's a haste rune.
I guess I can get faster.
Oh, there's the tiny relocate right on top of the gyrocopter. He does pop that BKB. There's a shallow grave as well. They picked up the Bane on the Windrunner on the other side. Charge comes out. It doesn't quite push them off the ledge though, and Krille is somehow still alive. They've taken out the IO. Krille is dead, but will they get the tiny? They're tossed through this vacuum wall thing. There's so much damage coming out from these illusions. Windrunner needs to get away from her own illusion. It's hurting her so badly. She's trying to kill off all the illusions to help her teammates, and now she's thinking about going in on the Roshan.
Yeah, I mean, they decided to go onto the Jorokotzer without the Juggernaut, which probably... I mean, they delayed the Rosh anyway, but Jug's up now. I don't know if they can kill this Roshan in time. Jug's...
She should be able to shackle and then do focus fire.
Jug's getting the racks, actually.
Yeah, he is indeed just forcing out their racks. They're trying to get this Aegis, but as you said, it's gonna be rough. Juggernaut is getting mega creeps as we speak. The Windrunner, she is still, she has left the pit because she's having trouble with Pwn on that Doxy, who now has a Ghost Scepter, so good luck Windrunner there. We've got some stopping onto the Juggernaut. He is going to kill off one, see if he can kill off two. Windrunner's here, but there's the Omni Slash. She's dead with no buyback, and that's it. That's her GG.
That was a really nice play from Juggernaut right there, actually. Because, like, they were trying to finish a rope, and he's like, I don't even care about Roach, I'm going to go straight into the racks. Which had his eyes on the prize, and as a result, secures the win for Bad English. But going over that game, though, like, it was a simpler fact as what we mentioned in the draft. If Bad English can get farm on Tiny, if they get farm on Juggernaut, they're going to probably win this game because they just have the better mid to late game. And Lemondogs, yes, they had a good early game and they knew exactly what they had to do. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Like you saw the difference between Tusk and Darkseer in the late game as well. Like both offlaners, both had good starts, both played well actually. But in the end, like Tusk, unless you can really do so much work in the early game, he does tend to fall off. So sometimes I do think perhaps Tusk offlane, I think is out of the meta. I think the heroes is incredibly strong, but I think you have to play him in the support role in terms of, or compared to the offlane. But regardless, so very well played from Bad English, and it wasn't a bad showing from Lemondogs either, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to secure this win for them.
Yeah, definitely. So Team Bad English showing a great draft, executing it well, even though they had a rough start. Some good Dota coming out of them. Let's get ourselves into Game 2 after some words from the sponsors. Once again, I am Llama Down Under, joined by Mini Esports. Show them some love on Twitter. I would love your feedback there as well. Let's get into it.
E-gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
G2A.com, the best video game store ever! Fast as lightning, solid as a rock, cheap as duck! What's more, you can sell on it because it's also a marketplace. Remember G2A.com, the best video game store ever!